According to a study that was done by Fender guitars, 90% of guitar players quit within the first 90 days of playing guitar. That is incredibly disheartening to me. I hate that statistic. But speaking as somebody who, when I was first teaching myself how to play guitar 24 years ago and I was starting out, I quit too. You know, I was part of that. In fact, I quit on 3 separate occasions before I finally picked it up and stuck with it. Why is it that playing guitar is something that is so hard that it causes people to quit at such high numbers? Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I can tell you why I quit. And so today I'm going to go over why I think it is that so many people quit, how to get over that, how to avoid being one of that statistic, and then I have a gift for you at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned so that you can get that. Okay, so when it comes to learning the guitar, what is it that most people dive into first thing when they start learning? It's usually one of 2 things. One, they either start playing like single note melodies, like Mary Had a Little Lamb, or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or Ode to Joy, or something like that, which in most cases is not exactly the kind of music that most people are looking to learn how to play on the guitar. A lot of people might call that boring. Or they spend their time learning how to play open chords and strumming. That's how I started out. When I was first learning guitar, the book that I was going through, the basic thing that it started out with was strumming chords. That was it, right? And that's what most people start out with is, here's your open chords, here's how you play them, and then you get strumming. And that is way harder than it needs to be at the beginning of learning guitar. Now think about it. When you are learning how to play open chords and you're learning how to strum and stuff, there is so much that goes into that. I mean, you have to coordinate all your fingers, right? Because you're playing 3 or 4 fingers for your different chords. Like, if you go to learn an E minor chord and you're like, oh, cool, 2 fingers, that's easy, right? And then the next thing up is B7. And you're like, what the heck is that, right? Or D chord. And it's like, whoa, all my fingers don't want to do what they need to do to be able to play those chords and do it clean and to change smoothly and to make it sound like I'm actually playing music, right? That's why I would quit playing guitar and why, you know, one of the big reasons why I did so many times when I was starting out, because I did not feel like I could get the open chords down. It was too hard. And then to be able to do strum patterns and change those chords in time, to me, starting out when I was a kid teaching myself, that felt nearly impossible. And like I said, it caused me to give up on multiple occasions. Now, I can totally understand the reason behind why people do start learning open chords. One, it's been done that way for decades, so there's a lot of history of people doing that. But number 2, a lot of those chords get used in songs that we love to play. And that's perfectly normal to want to learn the kind of chords that you need to play the songs that you're listening to. That's totally cool. But is that the best way? Is that a way that leads to the most success? Is that going to set you up for success when it comes to playing guitar? Because if you're like me and you're going at it alone and you're trying to learning those open chords can be really frustrating because it feels like a really big uphill battle. Now, you can make it easier on yourself. Rather than starting out with full open chords, you could do simplified open chords. So instead of a full G chord, you could do a simple G chord that's just 3 or 4 strings. Instead of a full C chord, you could do a simple C that's either 3 strings or 4 strings. And E minor, you could just do 1 finger E minor or a 3 string, no finger E minor. There's that one. No string, no fingers, or 1 finger. And then you have your D chord, of course. So that's an easier way to start. It's just by playing simplified versions of your open chords. And that's good. But even that can be challenging and you still have to coordinate a lot. So is there a better way to do it? Is there an easier way to start out playing guitar that will help you be able to play and have fun and feel like you're making real music and make it easier to coordinate and change chords? Well, for the last few years, I've been experimenting with something new, and it's the thing that I love to do first with students. So I'm going to show you kind of the path that I take a lot of my students through and how it can help you out. So first, let's do this. I like to start out in drop D tuning. This sounds like blasphemy to some guitar players. I don't get it because eventually we all discovered drop D tuning and how awesome it is. But when I was playing in a band actively, and our bass player, who was probably the best songwriter in the band, would bring us new songs, you know how he would bring them to us? He'd play them in drop D tuning because he was a bass player. He wasn't a guitar player. And so he would just bring them to us in drop D tuning and just play them for us. And I thought, well, heck, if a bass player can do it. So that's the first thing that I recommend doing. So if you're in standard guitar tuning, your first string is tuned to E, your second string is B, your third string is G, your fourth string is D, your fifth string is A, and your sixth string is normally tuned to another E. Now that's your standard guitar tuning, and you can play anything in that, okay? But I like to start people out in drop D tuning. So to do that, you take your low E string and you tune it down to a D note like that. The way that you can do this if you don't have a tuner or you can't do it by ear is you press down on the 7th fret of your 6th string, and then you play your open 5th string. And you want those to ring out at the same time, and you want those to match up. Okay? That's how you can tune to drop D tuning. Now, once you're in drop D tuning, the cool thing is we can play your lowest sounding 3 strings. So your 4th string, your 5th string, and your 6th string. And those 3 strings together, be careful not to hit your other strings, but those 3 strings together make a power chord. And that sounds cool. So what I like to do is start my students out by playing power chords in drop D tuning, because you can play that open power chord where no fingers are required, but then you can also play power chords at any fret on the guitar. So do this, take your 1st or 2nd finger and place them on your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th fret of your 4th, 5th, and 6th string. So that means you got to lay it flat. And you're basically going to play all 3 of those strings with 1 finger laying it flat. Now, like I said, be careful not to play your other strings. We don't want to hear those. We just want the 3 lowest strings. But by doing that, you can play this at any fret on the guitar, and you immediately have really cool sounding power chords. So what do you do with that? Well, let's try this just for fun. Take your open power chord and strum that 8 times like this. Then press down on your 7th fret and play that 8 times. And then do that on your 5th fret. And then do it on open again. That is all you need to do to be able to play a cool song like The Middle by Jimmy Eat World. In fact, thousands of you guys have watched my video of me teaching you how to play that as a total beginner on your first day. And it's the same thing. I literally did this today with a new student, went through how to play The Middle, and that's what we did. We went down to drop D tuning and we started to play the song, and we were able to play the whole song in about 20 minutes. That's how cool it is. You can learn how to play a real full song that still gets played on the radio today that is a classic. It's a lot of good fun to be able to play something that sounds cool and doesn't sound like something like Mary Had a Little Lamb. So that is where I recommend you start. Is you start by playing drop D power chords. You can literally take any song, even if it's not in drop D, and you can play that song using drop D power chords. Now, what's the next step? Well, if you don't want to tune down to drop D, or even if you do, you can still get started playing the guitar in standard tuning with 1 finger. And this is the next step that I take students through, is we go to play open power chords. So open power chords in standard tuning are typically 2-string power chords, where you're going to play an open string, like your open 6th string. And then you take your first finger and you play the 2nd fret on your 5th string like this. And by playing that, that's an open E power chord. It gets its name from that low E string. And then this is your open A power chord. If I just move my first finger down to the 4th string and play my open 5th string and that 2nd fret on the 4th string, that's my open A power chord. And then if I move that finger one more time over to the G string, my 3rd string, so I'm playing the open 4th string and the 2nd fret on my 3rd string, that's my open D power chord. And you can take these and you can play those 3 chords and you can play full songs with those like this. And that's just using one finger, and all you're doing is moving from one string to the next. You can also play like the blues using that. Or if you want to use another finger, you can throw your 3rd finger in. Right? So you can start playing the blues with your open power chords as well. But what's the next step? What do you do after that? Well, the next step I take students through is playing actual standard power chords, okay? So we've played our drop D power chords. We played our open power chords using one finger. Next, we go on to power chords, okay? So a power chord, a standard issue power chord in standard tuning, is where you take your first finger and your 3rd finger and you play a 2-note power chord. So for example, I'm going to put my first finger here on the 7th fret of my 6th string, and then your 3rd finger will go on the next string higher and 2 frets higher from where you are. So if I'm on my 7th fret 6th string, my 3rd finger goes on the 9th fret of my 5th string, and you're going to hold those both down at the same time and strum through both strings. And that gives me this really cool sounding power chord. And immediately you can take that power chord, and if you keep your fingers in the same shape, the same position, the same relationship to each other, where my first finger's on the lower string, my 3rd finger's on the next highest string, and they're 2 frets apart, I can move this around and I can play this on any fret. And so I can immediately get students playing real songs. Stuff like this. Or stuff like this. Standard power chords open up thousands and thousands and thousands of songs for you because they help you to be able to play anywhere on the fretboard, and you can play lots of cool sounding stuff. So that's the next step that I would take you through. Now, after that, after doing drop D power chords, open power chords in standard tuning, and then your standard power chords, this is the point where I have found students have developed some dexterity in their fingers. We've also been playing riffs and different stuff like that, where they've developed their fingers enough and their control and their calluses to be able to start playing open chords. Now, that means that I don't start with open chords right off the bat. And even if I did, I would start out with simple ones like simple G, simple C, simple E minor, and you know, your regular D chord. There's not a simple D unless you count your open D power chord, right? But by the time my students start playing their open chords, unless it's something that they just are dying to play first thing, they can already play a ton of songs using drop D power chords, open power chords, standard power chords. And then by the time we get to your standard open chords, they come a whole lot easier. So it comes to the point where we're playing G and C and D and E minor and everything. And we're going through that process. And by that point, your open chords are so much easier for you than if you just start with those things right off the bat, okay? This is what I mean by saying open chords are way harder to begin with and harder than it needs to be. If you start by playing chords in drop D with your drop D power chords, and then move on to 1-finger open power chords and 2-finger power chords in standard tuning. And then by the time you're doing your open chords and you have to coordinate 3 or 4 fingers at a time, it's going to be a whole lot easier for you because you've built up some control and some finger dexterity, and you're getting used to this weird position that your hand is in when you play the guitar, right? Starting out there for me is what made me quit multiple times. And I don't want you to go through that. So if you're learning on your own, that's the process I would recommend going. But I have a gift for you. This is the first time that I have released this. I've put together a free course for you. And this is going to help you go through the same process that I just mentioned. We're going to start out by covering the fundamentals, how to tune, how to hold your guitar, all that fun stuff. But as soon as we get playing, you're going to learn how to play drop D power chords. And then immediately you're going to start to learn how to play actual music by using drop D power chords. Because like I said, there's a lot that you can do just by playing your drop D power chords. And the point of that is, one, it's easier to change chords on time. That is what holds most people back when they're playing open chords and starting out, is you have to coordinate the change of 3 or 4 different fingers and get it all done in time. And that can be really hard. But when you're doing drop D power chords, you have 1 finger to move. It could be your first finger, it could be your second finger, it could be both of them stacked, but you've got 1 finger to move, really. And it makes it so much easier to change in time so you can have fun playing. And that helps you to feel like a rock star. Then we're going to go over your open power chords. I'm going to show you how to play them. I'm going to show you how to play music with them. We're going to go over how to play the blues using them. And then we're going to dive into your standard power chords, how to play your standard power chords using chord progressions from actual songs to practice. Okay. And then how to play actual music using your power chords. And I'm going to walk you through this whole process. Then we get into your open chords. Now, here's the trick. Your open chords, by this point, you're already playing multiple songs. You've already got some coordination under your fingers and you're good to go. And so we start working on your open chords and how to do that. Now, this course that goes through all of that stuff is totally free for you, and it's called the Simple Guitar Jumpstart Course. It's to give you a jump start with your guitar playing, and it's totally free. On top of it, it also includes a free sample on beginner lead guitar from my course, the Instant Rockstar Scale Mini Course. So on top of all the stuff that we're going to go over to get you jump started with your guitar playing and how to play your drop D power chords, your open power chords, your power chords, and your open chords and strumming and all the stuff that goes on with that, we're also going to get you started with playing lead guitar. Now, if that sounds like something that you think would be fun and would be good for you, then the way to get this free course is you go to simpleguitar.com/jumpstart. And if you go there, you can click the orange button that says get the Jumpstart course now and then sign up for it. All you have to do is give me your name and your email and you're into the course and you can start right away. And it's totally free. Like I said, you can do this course for free. So if you are just starting out on the guitar and you want to have a good jump start that will give you a solid foundation for your playing as you go forward and you're learning how to play the guitar more, this course is really going to lay that out for you and get you playing real music and having fun at the same time. Or if you've been trying to learn and you've been struggling and you're at that point where you just want to give up and you want to quit, go try out this Jumpstart course. It's going to break things down and make it easier for you to play the guitar, to have fun playing the guitar, and to make real music. So that's what I've got for you today, guys. That is the gift that I have for you. It's a free course. Go get it now at simpleguitar.com/jumpstart. And I hope that this video is helpful for you. And I can't wait to see it in that course. I hope that that course is going to help you out a lot. So go to simpleguitar.com/jumpstart, and I will see you over there in that video.